Roll back. All right, we live now. Let me get back to the screen. Warming it up for the Sister Empress to come on in. She's an astrologist. She's learning the NUWAUBIan language. And the sister is coming here today to represent for the Divine Feminines, explain her perspective on various different subject matter and topics. And don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and share. Please, family, I need y'all to share so that this information get out. You there, sis? It says our phone is connecting to audio and can't hear you yet. Turn my camera on so we can, you in the building?
Yes, I'm here.
Rahul back.
Rahul back.
All right, so, so, you know, I wanted to address certain things that you and I speak about and other concerns as far as, you know, with different things, as well as to get into a little bit of astrology and your perspective on spiritual readings and things of that nature. I think that a lot of the lives that we do don't really come from the Divine Feminine's perspective. And so that's why I asked you to come on and pretty much represent for the Divine Feminines tonight. So the first thing I would like to ask myself personally, I'm pulling up the chat so I can see when brothers and sisters come on and have questions for you. What does the actual spiritual readings entail? Let's start there.
So from my research and from my experience, readings give you advice. Okay. I was brought up to believe that readings were demonic energy, that we weren't allowed to know certain things about our present moment or our future, as well as our past. But in actuality, we are all of those things already. And so to come into reading helps us to understand a little bit more about our spiritual journeys, our personal lives, what we resonate with on an individual basis, things that we don't share with other people that only the universe can reveal to us through divination, through readings. So that's my intake on what readings are to me. It is a spiritual connection to the universe, to our ancestors, to the divine energy that we are created from, that image.
Okay, so what all does reading entail? Like, how does it work?
Different readers do it different ways. It really just depends on what resonates with that person. From my history, everyone has their own way of how they would interpret. With me, I personally feel divinely connected, that I really don't have to do too much as what I've seen others do in terms of using tarot or using crystals and things like that, different tools. I feel like I'm really divinely connected to spirit, to where I don't have to always use those tools. If I am considered one with the all, then the messages come to me from the all. And so with that, whatever I'm picking up from that person is what I'm entitled to, the message I'm entitled to give that person at that moment. So it just really depends on that person and that reading. You have people who need to light incense and burn candles and do oils and things like that, which are all very useful because they all are elements of nature and we are part of those elements. So it is okay to use those as well.
Okay, can you give us a little bit of history from your perspective as to where the astrological, if I can say that word, readings actually started?
Our ancestors. What Kimmy says, we created these things, you know. So with history, you could go back with numbers, and this is something our ancestors, you know, brought about way before a tarot card was even created. And so with my research, I realized how deeply connected I was to astrology and astronomy, because again, it was here before, any of this, what we consider Greek or, information. It was ours first. It was ours before it became anybody else's. And with that,
Okay.
we are able to see how we are connected to the universe through moon signs and symbols, through the zodiac, because again, the planetary alignment, each planet has their own energy. And with that energy, we are a part of that energy in some way. And in some way, it affects us here in this physical realm.
Okay. So another question I have is, how easy is it to learn to perform readings properly? Like, what are the steps that one would have to take if they want to be a reader, if that's what it's called?
Understanding how connected you are to nature, to the spirit realm. I believe that anybody can do anything that they want to do and become a professional at it. But I think to really be a part of something, to be one with something, you have to really connect with it. You have to really understand what it means to be connected to this realm. That means that I believe in ancestors. I believe in the spirit realm. I believe that we are all one, just having our own human experience. I believe that because of these things, we're connected to everything. And everything is whatever we put our minds to. And if we want to become better at that, we just practice and we continue to manifest it in our speech as we talk about language, speaking into existence. So the synchronicities will eventually line up. If it's for you, you'll see the signs and symbols that lead you to what is meant for you. So with that, this walk is everlasting. You're always learning something new. You're always obtaining some new information, because that's just how much we change in this physical realm. And so with that, you'll always learn and become familiar with new things in this tarot reading or in this spiritual walk.
Okay. So is there anything that you can elaborate on as far as like with the benefits of having the readings?
The benefits that I receive.
Like what would you tell people? These are the benefits of having.
The benefits of having a reading is whatever
Say that again?
the benefits of having a reading done, if that person really desires to want to know something, if they feel any type of void, and this is something that they're interested in, the reading would definitely bring about clarity. It would definitely give you the necessary tools to move forward in your next phase of life. It will inform you of challenges that you may be, you may be in, or maybe, in the future. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen, because there are things that would take place to help you to get through those challenges. Again, challenges are just, obstacles that we face to make us better. And so the readings help you to see things clear, get a better understanding of, like I said, uncertainties, love relationships, financial relationships, spiritual paths, whatever questions you may need to ask, anything that is deep within your mind that you can come up with, the readings will be there to help you clarify it. It is not giving you definite answers saying you better do. It is a free will. You have a choice. But again, if the cards is steering you one way, the advice is giving you, the tools to take to get through these, circumstances and situations, it's up to you to take that advice. Nothing changes with the message. It's up to you to accept what is being given to you in order for you to move on to the next phase in your own personal life. And that's just it. It's personal. It has nothing to do with anyone else, but everything to do about self.
Okay, so let's speak about the accuracy of the readings. How accurate is it?
My readings are pretty accurate. I think it's more of an energy thing with the person, the one who is seeking the reading. Again, we all are divinely gifted with this energy ourselves, but some of us just don't realize that we possess it. And so we seek others for that guidance. I definitely believe that the readings are accurate because I do them myself, and I've also got a chance to have readings done. And they have been on point. And I say that because the person who did the reading knew nothing about me, nothing personal. And for them to tap into my energy and give me some advice from a spiritual perspective, they had my attention. That was confirmation to let me know that we get divine messages from all areas. As I would say, I wouldn't put God in a box. Okay. So messages come from all areas, whether it be a tarot reading or you reading the sun, moon, and stars. If you are connected to nature and you want to, you are in a position to want to elevate in a spiritual way, then these messages will come to you. Spirit will have a way of giving you the answers that you need to help you move forward in your own personal path. Connect you with the right people, the right communities, the right love relationships, to give you warning signs about bad energy that's around you and how to balance yourself. I can't hear you. The volume went up. I'm here. Can you hear me? I still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. I was trying to go in my files and find some stuff that people was asking me. But so what should we look for in the authenticity of people who do readings? Because, you know, some people may claim to be able to do it properly and give us the most accurate reading, but I don't know if there is a way to be able to measure that.
The way my advice with that, when finding a good reader, is a little bit of background history. You know, you definitely want to resonate with someone that demonstrates that they're in tune with nature, that they're in tune with the all, that they live that lifestyle on an everyday basis. Because when you get a chance to see someone in action, you connect the words that they speak. We move and we vibrate off of our thoughts, our actions, our deeds. And so a good reader definitely demonstrates this in all three of those aspects. And that is something to look forward to, not taken away from our queens out there who love to demonstrate this realm in a different way. It's just the energies and the spirits that they work with. We all work with different spirits. We are energy. And so with readers, we all work with different energies that we conjure.
Got
And
you.
so that's kind of how that goes in when it comes to readings.
Okay, so I see V Money in the chat. Welcome, Mashug. So you've been a student of mine for probably what, a month now, or going
Yes.
on a month? Okay, and we've been having certain conversations relative to our starting point, which you know that NUWAUBIAN is our starting point. And as I spoke to you today, that there are certain discrepancies that people feel like they just don't want to let go of English. English is hard for them to let go of. As far as, from my perspective, learning the cultural practices and the rites and the rituals inside of the language, which naturally that would mean that language would come first if people weren't raised speaking the language. What is your what is your perspective on that?
When it comes to the English language, for us that are born and raised in America, it's our first language. It comes natural to us for most of us that are born and raised in America. That's usually the first language that we learn. So I understand one holding on to their native tongue, their American tongue. When it comes to a culture, because America to me has its own culture, it's an American culture. But outside of that American culture, one would have a language. That language is reciprocating that community, that culture, that group of people. And with that group of people comes a lifestyle. With language comes a culture, comes a lifestyle. And if we trace our stories, if we trace the numbers, the timeline, we'll see that in many cultures all around the world, language is first. Language is the first thing that one learns, and then they adapt to the culture, the everyday lifestyle of that language. We speak about language. We say that it is a vibration. It is. We say manifestation. Well, what are we doing? We're speaking. We want something to take place. So we use words. Well, we understand that words have power. And if we're speaking about a language such as English that holds some power, what we would say a spell that has us hindered, trapped, we absolutely want to break free from that language. We want to break free from that mental slavery, because if we knew something else, English would be second, because we would have adapted to that first language culture, which would have taught us about someone else's culture, someone else's language. So we speak about language because we want to break away from unhealthy habits. And here with NUWAUBIAN, we learned that the American language is a spell that we are working on breaking so that we can be on a higher frequency, more in tune and connected with nature. That's something that the American spell has hindered us Nubians from for a very long time. And that's not my words. That's something you can research yourself and find out.
So let me ask you this, because I think that was very well put. Let me ask you this. How do you feel about learning the information of the culture in the language as opposed to learning the information in English and then going to the language?
The same way I look at myself when I'm learning Spanish. I adapt myself to the culture. If I'm speaking Spanish, that means I want to adapt myself to the culture. I want to understand what that Native American lifestyle is about. Other than that, why am I learning the language? It goes hand in hand to me. I believe that with the information that I have learned throughout the years, that is the pattern that I see when it comes to language. You learn the language, you learn the culture, but you have to take baby steps, because these words mean something, especially when you are translating one language to another. It changes. It doesn't mean the same thing all the time. And so to learn the language does absolutely help you to learn the culture. If you learn the culture and you just see it from afar, can you connect any other way? You'll be walking around and you won't be able to speak to no one. You'll miss out on a lot. That's why both are important, but it takes you to understand how the language is important first. Your mother taught you how to speak English first so that you can comprehend what everything else in your surroundings. Other than that, you would have been naive to everything and you would have learned everything the hard way.
So with that being said, because that does make sense as far as when you're a child, they don't teach you all that other stuff until later. You actually get spoken to and you're actually getting trained on the language. And then from there, through the language, you start learning cultural practices, idioms, phrases that represent the culture, and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
And so people, the master teacher has written many hundreds of scrolls. And in these scrolls, he's disseminated a plethora of different levels of information on a vast amount of subjects because he felt it was necessary to be able to give this information to the people on the outside of the community because they didn't live inside of the environment, to whereas the language and the culture was all in one. And I find that people who were not, living inside of the community learning have a different mentality, from the people like myself who was living inside of the community and was learning. And so my method is more so like that. What do you think, or what is your perspective on those type of people that come in, like as far as marketing wise? And I'm gonna use the term marketing because I had a conversation with a sister today, and she feels that from the beginning, if a person knows nothing, that you have to give them, I don't even want to say what specific type of information, but I'm going to put it in my words, what I think that she was saying, information about the language, why it is needed. She gave examples on what if they don't know what tone, frequency, and alchemy mean. And my rebuttal was, when I'm talking to a person, first of all, I do not automatically assume that the average person standing in front of me is very unintelligent or stupid, right? I give them the benefit of the doubt. But once when they start opening their mouth and talking to me and asking specific questions, at that moment, I know where their psychological capability and capacity lies. And from there, I start disseminating the necessary information that would resonate with them based on the words that I perceive that they will understand. Her take on it is totally different. What is your take on that?
We all learn on different levels. Let's get that straight. And so because we learn on different levels, everything that we perceive is going to be different than the next person's. That's common sense. If you were raised up in a community and I wasn't, I absolutely understand the level of knowledge that versus me. Why? I've learned too. I'm learning this American lifestyle first. Remember that.
Right.
And then I'm learning something new. So I am unlearning to relearn. You, on the other hand, with just inside of the community, there's nothing for you to unlearn. You're just continuously learning, continuously growing wisdom, educating, informing, enlightening others. Knowledge never ends and never stops. It's till we pass on to the next lifetime, And so I absolutely understand the difference in how we perceive things. Again, One going to boarding school only knows what's within those walls. It is when they go out on the outside of those walls when they learn that there's life, something new. Um, the book Buddha is something good to talk about living in one world and then coming into another. And so to understand that you were brought up and raised in one way, and then bringing someone new in, that's kind of how life has been. I mean, aren't we taught from someone else already that's already within the community, so that we on the outside can learn and obtain this information to pass that seed on to the next? If we always meant to be in the same bubble, what we need each other for?
That is correct. So go ahead. Go ahead, finish your thought.
So I absolutely wouldn't mind learning from somebody that was absolutely there in the flesh. I would call that the source. Okay, because at least with the source, I can get all the valid, valuable information without it being watered down coming from an outside source. When we learn about Reiki, we learn about Reiki from a whole nother perspective until we westernize it. Okay. And when we westernize that information, it's no longer authentic. The original information has been microwaved. And now we quickly know Reiki. And within a matter of weeks, I'd rather learn from the source. That way I can ask whatever questions I need to ask without being misled. Because in my hopes that this person that was born and raised in a community have valid information, nothing tainted, almost like holding something ancient. But to an outside source, it's okay for us to get this information, and it's okay for us to perceive it different because we're outside. We're outside. We learn something different. So now we have to, once again, what I would say, analyze this new information and compare it with what we've already known. And if it resonates with us, then it's for us. And if it's not, then it's not. Simple as that. This walk in life is personal. And I think a whole lot of people sometimes get that information misconstrued. We live a personal life. So any information that we perceive from anybody, anywhere, is because that's what we want for our own personal gain. If we choose to believe that person from the inside, or that person from the outside, or that old scroll or that new scroll, it's so personal. Whatever floats your boat, whatever resonates with you.
What is your perspective as far as the women are concerned, as far as getting them to see the purpose of learning the NUWAUBIC, and just interested in taking that journey and to unite and propel ourselves forward as an independent culture with our language?
What is your motive? We all have a motive. So that's something to think about. If you're here learning the culture, the language, what is your motive? What are you here for after you learn the language and you've read the scrolls and the tablets? What's next? Do you live this lifestyle now? Have you learned so much of the information that from the beginning of your day to the end of your day, this is your complete lifestyle? Or are you an on and off switch? Sometimes it's for you and sometimes it's not. Because again, we're talking about a culture that is connected to everything. And everything is everything that we see, hear, feel, touch, taste, smell, all of those senses.
How do we get them to understand the purpose? Like, if you had to actually make an analogy of the purpose of learning the language and its importance, what would be your advice to the other divine feminines?
I'm going to say this real quick. I don't want to get anybody to do anything if they don't want to already. They have to have a natural will and desire within themselves to want to gravitate to this as like a hunger, a thirst.
Now that's powerful. Go ahead, sis.
So if you are not thirsty and if you are not hungry, I'm not here to feed you. It's not my job to feed somebody that's not hungry. I'm not here to force nothing down nobody's throat. Remember, this is personal.
So what would be your advice? Or let me say this. If it was you disseminating the language, what would be a method that you feel like you would apply that would be effective into getting them to understand the whole purpose and the need and the benefit?
One is to continue to reinforce how the language that we speak is a curse, and maybe some facts behind why we call it a curse, and then showing them proof how NUWAUBIC language breaks that curse and puts us in harmony and in unison with nature. Facts. People want to see proof. They want to see timelines. They want to understand and they want to see a pattern. So a language to teach one and to show one is to continue to say, hey, if you want to break this pattern, then I'll go into your personal space and I'll say, let's talk about those challenges that you have you don't want to talk about. Well, if you learn a different frequency, you'll be able to get through those challenges, because I know they feel uncomfortable and intense. I know quite a few people are not waking up happy-go-lucky, bubbly, and full of joy. There is something within their aura that is disturbing them. And that is because the language that continue to manifest in their aura is continuously reminding them of these challenges. Change the words, change the patterns, change the language. You'll change everything else in your life.
How do you perceive, from your perspective, that a language of our own, such as NUWAUBIC, can free the mind from the mental bondage that English and the spell placed us under?
From what I've learned so far, the NUWAUBIC language is made up of several different languages: Arabic, Egyptian, and so forth, correct?
Correct.
So with that, I like to define words. When you define these words, what do they mean? When you define these words from these different cultures, do they have any type of power behind them? And if so, wouldn't you think it would be a good idea to utilize these words in your everyday life, considering the power that they hold? We got to this point because once upon a time, our language was written on walls. And through evolution, we learned how to write it down on pen and paper. And now we can type it. Who knows what comes next?
Okay, you got a question in the chat from V Money. Rahul Bad V Money. So V Money says, will speaking NUWAUBIC add more power to our manifestation through affirmations and things of that nature versus the English language, since the English language is such a low vibration?
Absolutely. Again, we're talking about where this language comes from. It's a Creole-based language, which means it is a collaboration right? And I just specified with just a few of where this language is coming from. And so when you learn the energy behind who created it, it's almost adaptable. I absolutely agree and say that, yes, learning a new language will absolutely help you to vibrate on a higher frequency, because again, we're forming a community of like-minded individuals coming together in unison, on oneness. I'll say this: how far have the English language got you this far in your life? Would you be here right now? Or would you be carrying on with the English language because it's manifesting everything you truly desire in your life? What is the English language doing for our melanated skin? I'm still looking at all of this hate crime, because we're continuously using this English language and it's continuously manifesting chaos every single day.
Hmm. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. We're just dealing with you yourself. So when I first started this, well, I should say when the ancestors first appointed me to start this, I just started disseminating, basic information as to Nuwaubic and Nuwaubian culture and why learning our language is important. Amongst or amidst that propaganda, you ran across it and something sparked you to come join us. What sparked you to actually come, seeing as though you knew nothing about Nuwaubians, you knew nothing about the master teacher? You're definitely a divine feminine with a high level of intelligence. What was it inside of the propaganda that the ancestors spoke through me to put out that drew you?
First, it was the name. Just being honest. The name Nuwaubi, I think that was the first, the group that was capturing to me. And so spirits say, check into it. I definitely say I was spiritually led to learn more about why I was divinely led to this group. And I see now everything about my life has everything to do with this culture, especially when it comes to the breakdowns of how Nuwaubian come into existence with coming from different areas of life, understanding different cultures and how we are one. And so to be a part of this community of brothers and sisters is definitely a spiritual awakening for me, because I definitely feel like our people need to speak our own language. Everybody else have theirs. Why not? And they speak their language gracefully, harmoniously, and the frequency that they resonate off of, because they are one with their communities, is something that I desire with my own community of Nubians. So I'm glad that, I was spiritually led to be here, to be amongst my brothers and sisters, to be some spiritual enlightenment as well as to be enlightened.
Okay. So now let's talk a little bit about the divine feminine, because as it relates to what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't feel like that there is enough of the divine feminines that are projected in the forefront. You and I have spoken about this many, many times, even going so far as to saying that a lot of us should step down and let this matriarchy have its way. And I agree with that. To the extent of saying that if they're qualified and they have a voice, and the other divine feminines actually resonate with them, that is the duty or responsibility of the divine masculines inside of the NUWAUBIAN culture, I should say specifically, that the women take the position of leadership, because that's what all of us are pretty much trying to propel forward. Yeah. So I should say most of us, I can't say all because that would be overgeneralizing. Will the divine, what can we do to get the divine feminines on board with taking more of a leadership role?
So to say that, people may or may not agree with the movie Woman King, but I just saw that movie. And I'm going to cut and paste a little bit and say that the structure and the discipline that the women showed in that movie is absolutely the same energy that we should have as the divine feminine. The energy of understanding who a leader is and why it's important to, be amongst that person so that they can show you, you know what I'm saying, how to lead the way one day. That desire, that passion to want to save the community, to save the tribe, that energy right there is what every woman should have running through their vein. They should want to have that energy to be ready for that next generation of young women to say, hey, this is where your mind needs to be if you want to be the best you, if you want to elevate and expand. Let me show you. Let me help you. You know what I'm saying? And again, that comes with a made-up mind. That comes with one woman having that mind and saying, I'm here to be a vessel. I'm not here to tell nobody what to do. I'm here to be an enlightenment to that woman, an inspiration to that woman. A woman, that mirror image. And so we want to have that type of energy. We don't want to be coming into the community simple-minded, or shallow, or one-track minded, tunnel vision. You're seeing things one way. How is that going to help the community? How is that going to help the divine feminine? If one comes into the community with that type of energy, you're going to attract that kind of energy. I like the birds of a feather flock together. So you come in with that energy, you're going to get that type of energy. But if you're looking for a divine feminine energy that's going to come in with the willpower and the determination and the creativity and the nurturing energy to be able to help manifest this culture into what it needs and should be, it's going to take a very strong-minded woman that's willing to put her pride aside. She shouldn't have it anyway. Her emotions should definitely be balanced, and she definitely, should understand what balancing her emotions mean, so that she can help the next sister.
Okay. So my next question is, we understand that a matriarchal society is inevitable, whether the unevolved brothers, and I'm not talking about anybody, so I apologize if I'm offending anybody, because that's not my intent. But I'm going to say what I have to say.
If the shoe
we know that the matriarchal society and rulership is inevitable, whether men want to let go of their egos or not. It is what it is. They can either get down or lay down. So I say that to say, when it comes to the quality, the specific qualities of the divine feminine, there are a lot of alpha, divine feminines. And I want your perspective as far as what is their place? Is their place for divine leadership, or how do you see that?
With an alpha female, she comes on with a strong personality, boldness, aggression, made up mind in a sense. But with that alpha female should also come that nurturing energy. She should be open to listen to her people, because a leader is born that way, for one. Nobody has to really tell you you're a leader, because somewhere deep inside your bones and your soul, you know your role. But for that alpha female, she should definitely be well educated. She should be versatile. She should be able to know how to speak to any and everybody in a way in which people will receive it the way they should. And I'm saying that they walk away feeling enlightened, not empty, not confused, but knowing that, hey, she has given me some information that I needed. And I look forward to our encounter again and again and again and again. That's the kind of energy that alpha female should be manifesting. Her aura should be that big to where no one is afraid to come to her for anything. They're not embarrassed. If her energy is good, they'll come to her naturally. You do have some alpha females who play the role where they need to be heard, and they'll use their voice to overpower the next person. Well, I'll dissect that a little bit and say that if somebody was coming at me with aggression and she or he was considering themselves to be my leader, especially in this spiritual path, I'm probably going to second guess them. I might reconsider if I really trust them with my life. Why? Because we're working off a frequency, a vibration of love. We should have balanced that aggression a long time ago. We should have balanced that anger a long time ago. We should have balanced that one-track mind a long time ago, because nature teaches us oneness, teaches us about balancing and being in harmony with everything around us, including human beings. So if we yelling and screaming at human beings, how do we feel about nature? Are we yelling and screaming at the trees and the birds and the bees too? Do we litter? How many people litter? Let's talk about that. Alpha females don't litter. They don't speak ill against no one. They listen with an attentive ear, with an overstanding, so that they can make better judgment, so that they can see clarity. They can see a solution. Other than that, some people just want to be heard because they may have some insecurities or some, self-esteem issues somewhere along the line, maybe possibly some childhood trauma that they never dealt with. And so this is the platform where they utilize that and they express it. We have a tendency of suppressing things. So we have to be mindful of who we consider to be in a position to help someone that seeks, guidance. So I don't want to say of a lower statue, but it's just seeking some guidance.
Okay, so I contacted the brother Rod Hayes. Rahubat, Rod.
Rahubat, God, what's going on?
I'm sitting here building with the Divine Feminine Empress. This is the brother Rod Hayes. Rod Hayes. This right here is the Goddess Empress.
Rahubat, brother.
Rahubat, Goddess, how you doing?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for asking.
I basically been getting the sister to elaborate on a lot of different information concerning the Divine Feminine's, her perspective of various different things that you and I done spoke about, but she and I speaks every day as well. And one of the things was, when the matriarchal society comes into full effect, the quality that we should be looking for in women that's going to take that forefront. She just got finished explaining or answering my question when I was like, well, what about the alpha females? And, she was pretty much outlining the qualities of the various different females and the nurturing nature that they must have in order to make the matriarchal society work. What's your take on that, brother?
The matriarchy is predicated up on the women securing the children and the men securing the women. And everybody is not cut the same. So a female that I might be able to handle, the next guy might not be able to handle her. So this is where they talk about being evenly or unevenly yoked.
Hey, we talked about that.
Yeah, we sure did. Go ahead, brother. You right on point. See, Rob, be on point. Go ahead, brother.
Say that
Finish
one
your
more
talk.
time. Evenly yoked.
Evenly yoked. So if I meet a chick, she might not be into me. I might be the best thing that ever walked into her life, but because I don't fit her standard, she ain't gonna listen to me. So I'm gonna be wasting my time trying to give her every reason in the world to listen to me. She's not interested.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if I don't have her attention, I can't be her leader. I can't be her guy. I can't lead her nowhere.
Right. Exactly.
So it's the same with the men. If the man not qualified to lead, the woman not gonna follow him either. So now you gotta have qualifications and willingness to work together at the same time.
Balance. Harmony. Yep. That evenly yoked. That like-mindedness. Being on one accord. Having the same goal and drive. What I said just earlier, motive. What's your motive? On the same page? Do we see the same goals? Do we have it? You know what I'm saying? Because in order to manifest, in order to be able to say, I'm going to take your word for this, I have to lead by demonstration. I need to see on a consistent basis that you are demonstrating these things, because we already live in a world full of hypocrisy. If we wanted to continue to live that way, we might as well go back to the churches.
For real. That's what I be saying about these diet woke motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So look, look.
I'm just being honest, because throughout my research, that's just what I see. Everybody gets to dissect what they want to take and run with it and say, I'm the leader. I brought up, Imperial Majesty quote, to remember, in order to lead, one must first learn to follow. Okay, well, what does that mean? Who am I following? I'm following someone who demonstrates the things that I comprehend to every day on a consistent basis.
So we all heard the elder women telling the young guys, don't let that girl just lay up under you. But we don't know the science behind it though.
No.
Because if he laying there giving and she's experienced her heaven, she gonna activate his mitochondria. If he haven't done his self-work, that's a bad combination.
Mm-hmm.
It could send him off the deep end.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So the elder women be telling him that because they know what's gonna happen if he just let this girl lay there and feel that freedom of the moment with him. She activated shit, but he ain't done his self-work yet. He finna self-destruct. I keep telling these 9-volt ass niggas, you gonna run to one of these 220,000 volt sisters, she gonna short your fuse out.
Yes. We work off of instinct and intuition. Mm-hmm. Even in our lowest vibrations.
And those are positive and negative polarities.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And so when we working off of these energies, you definitely want to be laying up under the right energy.
Yeah.
Because she'll have that ability to put you where you need to be, unless, like you say, you self-destruct. I have self-destruct. I have watched me self-destruct. And later they come back to me and say, you was right, Empress. I needed that. Oh, I know you did. I know it. Was it hard? Was it rough for the both of us? Absolutely. But I knew deep within my soul, you needed that transformation.
We didn't all seen the chick in the neighborhood, the most beautiful person you want to be, but every one of her boyfriends, there's something wrong with that sucker.
Would you say something wrong with that sucker, huh?
There's something wrong with him. Every one of them she get with, he either gonna be a drug addict, an alcoholic, or he gonna be violent and extreme. All that's because he haven't done the self-work. And here she is just passing love around freely because she think that's the way that love goes. Love don't work like that. You're gonna fuck somebody up.
Yeah. If you don't use it the right way, people definitely can get hurt behind it. Definitely.
This is where, like, I be saying domestic violence is not a love affair. It's a hostage crisis disguised as a love affair.
Yeah, it is. It is. But we definitely have to know thyself first. And unfortunately, we go through relationships until we get to that point, hopefully. And, as time progresses. But we definitely, in this spiritual path, we definitely come to that realization of, hey, I've had these traumatic experiences before, and I've learned that I'd rather be with somebody that's like-minded. I'd rather be with somebody that want to sit out in the grass and meditate. You know what I'm saying? Because trying to get somebody to do it and it's not with them, you know what I'm saying? You're just going to continue to have quarrel in the community, within y'all relationship. Because somebody has not grown, somebody has not come to a realization of who they are, what they represent in this spiritual realm or in this physical realm as well. And so with that form of ignorance comes many challenges.
I know you sit there and you watch how things play out, and individuals have to understand that the more work you do on yourself, the more you invite people to want to help you. When you ain't doing no self-work, even if they don't think you are and you are, ain't nobody gonna come help you. That's why it's the loneliest pursuit, right? Because ain't nobody gonna help you do no shadow work, and they don't want to be around you while you do it or before you do it.
No.
But after you get done, now everybody want to be up under you, and you want to know where y'all was at when I was going through hell.
Right. Hiding, going through their own hells.
But see, they know you going through that awakening. They don't want to be around you because you're gonna be temperamental, volatile sometimes. Sometimes you ain't gonna want to be bothered. You're gonna be left the fuck alone. You're gonna go through all kind of emotional turmoils that's not normally who you are. But you got to go through that in order to get through the darkness.
Transformation. We all go through those phases of transformation. Some are aware and some are ignorant.
What do you all think? I have a question. I didn't mean to cut across you, sis. What do you think it would take to get more divine feminines active in the leadership aspect and speaking out?
I don't think we gotta do nothing because they've been doing their job. We just ain't.
I was about to say, everybody is going to speak. And I feel like with that, we're going to capture our own audience. We all have an audience. We'll gravitate to those who care to listen to what we have to say, what resonates with them on an individual basis and maybe as a collective as well. But we all each have our own audience that we'll reach out to in this spiritual walk, in this new beginning. That I'll use that. So that's how we'll gravitate to more divine feminine by, again, leading by example. People want examples. They want to see. Again, if you telling me that you were part of XYZ, but yet I see you doing ABC, how that look? If I see you every day.
These woke niggas, they can't handle the women they got, and they talk about they want to be polygamous.
You can't. You don't even know what that means because it's a trend right now. Just 5 years ago, y'all was casting it to whatever hell y'all thought it, y'all needed to cast it to. So, but now all of a sudden it's an end thing, ride the waves.
Well, yeah, fuck that.
Ride that, fuck that.
But yeah, I mean, look, that's just how it's trending now. It's trending.
You
because in actuality, who out here in a poly relationship actually building something for the Nubian communities? I need to see them.
Well, most of the ones I done seen, most of it is selfish pursuits.
They selfish who?
selfish pursuit. They doing it for whatever selfishness. But if you can't
Exactly. My point
if
exactly, which is
if you
pointless.
right, so if you're having a hard time with the woman you with, why would you want to get another angry woman you can't satisfy and put with her?
Because they're not balanced, they're not grounded. They have no no type of foundation. It's all an illusion. It's an illusion. And you know, when you're working from ego, this is what you get. You get this kind of behavior. So right there it says that this is self-destruction in itself. Nobody is building a dynasty in a poly relationship no more. They just want two bad bitches on their side. Look at me. You know what I'm saying?
That's the lost art, dynasty building.
Well,
That's why we referring to the ancient code of kings, but most of the people don't even know what that entails. What is the ancient code of kings? Tell you how to govern mass groups of people from ancient times to present. It's still applicable if you understand sciences.
well, for one, I guess we'll have to start putting that information out there just to kind of bring some clarity to those that may be a little bit confused.
Yeah, some of them want to stay confused because they comfortable in their confusion.
Okay, well then, you know, they'll fall by the wayside eventually.
Oppression is atmospheric in nature. You only gonna stay to the bottom as long until you can't stand it no more. Then you're gonna stand up. Right? And you got different people at different atmospheric levels of oppression. They get to the point where it's tolerable now. I make $100,000 a year. I got 3 cars, wife, a dog. I'm comfortable. Whew. I didn't think I was gonna make it, but I got it. I'm comfortable now. I can stay oppressed now. They don't understand that the concept of freedom and the illusion of freedom we've been following is 2 different things in and of itself. And most people don't want real freedom because you have to do real work to be free.
Like transforming your mind.
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of people don't want to do the self-work, then they don't want to do the community work. So when do we get to the point where don't nobody want to be oppressed?
Then we're not. Because the mind is stuck and stagnant in that mind frame that you just spoke about. That's why. That's it. Ain't nothing to think about after that. They want to stay comfortable in their little bubble. How long
Go
is that
along
bubble?
to get along. Go along to get along, ass.
I have a question. I have a question for you, Rod. Can you explain a little bit about the Conjuring Wars? Because I did watch the live on Young Elder's channel, and shout out to Young Elder. He's doing great stuff. That's my guy. I wanted you to kind of explain the Conjuring Wars a little bit.
What you want to know about it?
Where did that begin? What sparked it?
Well, there's always been Conjure Wars. If you go back and read in hieroglyphics, you see the most prominent one that took the life of King Tut was the Amun priest versus the Aten priest, which is the same priesthoods to still fighting. The Amun priesthood want to remain hidden and concealed. The Aten want to be, everybody see me, motherfucker, I'm out here. And you got other priesthoods and sub-priesthoods under them. But when you realize that all of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics is talking about some form of conjure one way or another, and the science that goes to the conjure, because it's not, people think that the conjure is something that you do on a whim, but the high magic is ceremonial in nature and ritualistic in application. And this is why they always doing rituals in the lodges. These is the rituals that they doing to keep us from knowing what they doing. Right? But then I come along and that shit don't work on me. I don't give a fuck how much adrenochrome you spill into the atmosphere. I'm gonna not like it, and I'm gonna say something because I can't keep my mouth shut.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
so what the kind of war that we finishing up now was the organic chiefs over here ran into the nobles who came from Europe, and the nobles from Europe challenged us to a kind of war. We ain't gonna never turn that shit down because we gonna always win that shit. So to stop the bloodshed from the Gullah Wars was bloody. They don't tell y'all how gory it was on both sides and the mass number of casualties that was being experienced on both sides that led to calling a ceasefire, which gave us our Treaty of Peace and Friendship, which gave us the rise to the Conjure Wars, Fezes versus Feathers, the L's versus the Bay. The Bay has no standing where there's no flag of the Bays at. You can't find a flag of the Bays anywhere in any Moorish temple, anywhere on the land. So they can cross the Bays out. So why are they there? And who the fuck is they and why they get crossed out?
Now I know
So
that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish your thought, brother.
yeah, so when I started asking the Moors them questions, them was the questions that they didn't have answers for, which led me into deeper study. The Bays never had a flag because they was totem poles. They didn't use flags over here. We used totem poles. The law of the flag came with the law or in Europe. It didn't come from us. So we had to learn the law of the flag, and then we had to learn how to assert our jurisdiction in a superior claim to their jurisdiction. So we did all that shit. That's how you close the Conjure War out.
Okay, so who started the Conjuring Wars?
It's just something. It's called the Games of the Gods, is what we call it. And what it actually is the one who can get the greatest self-control can control elements around them to the highest level. The goal is to use the least amount of intelligence possible to solve the problem. That's where you can see how bad the problem really is. So if they coming in at 32 degrees Scottish right, I'm coming in 33 degree York right. Right? So I'm always going to come in 1 degree above whatever they doing. So if they came in at 33 in the third, I'm coming in 34 in the fourth. I'm always going to one up them because I'm always going to stay one step ahead. So the Conjure War has never been an issue for us. But the Conjure War came in two parts. The first part we didn't know about, which we call it the biblical contract, that's tied to unum sanctums of the papal bulls that was issued by the Catholic Church. White Man's Burden, a poem by Rudyard Kipling, the prerequisite to King Leopold's invasion of the Congo, right? So the Berlin Conference dividing of the land masses because there was Conjure War going on both sides of the ocean. They was fighting in Africa, we was fighting over here. So they didn't spread their forces too thin to begin with anyway to be talking about a Conjure War because this is what made Garvey them bring Pan-Africanism over here so we could see we had the same enemy.
Mm-hmm. So
and them niggas call themselves the white man, they look like us. The white man ain't even white. I mean, you laughing, man. That shit hurt my feelings so fucking bad.
It hurt his feelings.
So let me ask you this. When was the last matriarchal society in place?
Greece was the last fully functional that wasn't being under constant assault by patriarchy was Greece. When they finally put Alexander in office, that was the death of the empire, of the Grecian Empire that was started by Egyptian priestesses. The Gorgons was Egyptian priestesses.
So another good question I've had on my mind since our last live is, what's going to stop the males from using force to remove the matriarchal society that's actually evolving now?
It's because it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Right now, if the women don't get back in power, I would hate to see what the result is, because they been given the keys to the kingdom to restore the land back under the matriarchy. And if a guy tried to stand up against them now, he a damn fool.
Yep. Self-destruction, and this divine masculine energy has just been self-destruction. And that's history, you know, the numbers can show that.
We can say masculine energy, but divine masculine energy in true form want to see everything where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes the thing run the way it's supposed to run.
Yeah, you're right. And this masculine
it's just
energy
like
definitely has taken over throughout our, you know, stories, through my research, you know, starting all the way back from the beginning of the first dynasties up until now. You know, I've had a great chance of reading a couple of books in relation to how this transformation came about. And it has always been this masculine energy dictating everything. Look where we at today.
But it's not divine masculine. You
No,
gotta keep that.
Yeah, let me rephrase that.
In its proper context, because the divine masculine in true form want to see the matriarchy, because that's going to allow him to be his best self.
Divine, that's going to also align with divine feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the fear of the males? Because I think that there's a great fear that the things that men have done to the divine feminine so many years, that would actually be returned. No different than the Europeans seem to fear that if us as a race was to take power, then there would be retribution against them based on the fact of the things that they've done.
Okay, first of all, we gotta ask the first question that we gotta ask in the scenario, 2 parts you gave, is why is the European in charge? Why is he the one that seems to be running the show? Who put them up there, and why is they there?
We did, and we still got them there.
But we don't know why we don't know why they're there.
Because the stories that have been told to us have some kind of way trapped itself into our psyches into believing that we can't do shit about it, but let it be, when it's not the truth. We just don't want to do nothing.
But that still don't explain what we did to get us under the foot of the European.
We stopped believing in ourselves. We stopped believing in the oneness that we had with nature. That's my personal opinion. We lost
afterward, though. We didn't start doing none of that till after they was already in power. Somebody had to put them in power. Why is they in power? Why is they the ones that we got to soft pussy step around?
We did.
Right.
We did.
But why are they there though?
It seems like
we agreed, because we agreed with the malarkey that they gave us. We compared it with ours and said, you know what? This looked like something we can agree to. And we carried on with that crap. And look at us today.
I pushed that question kind of hard for this reason.
It seems like based on history that I know, especially when you're talking about the Anunnaki, it was a very strategic and coercive plan by Enlil to basically remove the power from the women and put the males in power because of his own nefarious purposes.
Mm-hmm. So when we didn't stop Enlil and his progeny from creating another strain of human and fucking the genetics up, who gonna pay for that? It's consequences to them actions. Who has to pay for that shit?
Us.
We do.
Us. Like we are right now.
And this is why they in the position they in, because do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It was all karmic energy. Pets. They was all pets. They was your handmaidens and all that shit. Now when the roles is reversed, we ain't stopped crying victim yet. And the only way we gonna ever change this condition is realize we ain't never been the victim. We just was getting punished by our sins.
Correct.
We was getting
Karmic
punished
energy.
by our sins. The
Karmic.
sin is to create another sentient being that doesn't have a right of ascension, that it goes against galactic law. Somebody gonna pay for that shit. And guess who it's gonna be? The Earthborn, because we supposed to govern this shit. And if we don't govern it and make sure that motherfuckers don't come down here doing whatever they want to, using deception, fraud, and lies to keep the people ignorant, the ones that's responsible to keep the people aware ain't doing their fucking job. Somebody's gonna have to pay, and it's gonna end up being the ones who's supposed to be leading the charge of liberation is the ones who had to pay for that shit. The ones who had to suffer the most is the ones who had to pay for that shit. The debt got to get paid. Right? And our sins got to be the ones who make us pay. If we created Europeans 8,400 years ago, they only been in power a little less than 4,000 years. So it took almost 4,000 years to put them in power for them to have their little sip of power in their turn at the rulership table. And they did a horrible job just like they was expected to do.
Expected.
Yeah.
Continuously. And they continuously do it. They continue to demonstrate on a consistent basis, no matter how you look at it, they continue to demonstrate this energy. That's how you know. That's how you know that they are designed to do exactly what they're doing. They demonstrate this in politics. They demonstrate this in entertainment. They demonstrate this in almost all aspects of life.
Okay, so the goal was, if we was being punished by our sins, we also had to clean up the problem. We also had to clean up the genetic defect. This is what the whole oppression thing is. The only way you're going to get these two people that ain't going to never mix with each other to mix. They got to get their one drop of blood so they got their right of ascension. That's why they send them to the great melting pot, to the source of all of the blood on the planet, the Americas. Right? So when you're talking about the royal families, they originate here.
They do.
So when you're trying to tie back into the vine, you want to get close to the motherfucking root as possible. That way you can get the most motherfucking benefit for your bang for the buck.
Go to the source.
Okay. So about this Yaku's grafted gene. I saw the live that you did on that, and Pops explained it to us, but I wanted you to elaborate, like the literal act that took place and how we can see that factually now today.
You got to rephrase the question because it's just coming in like 4 different angles.
Okay, so basically, let's start with one question at a time instead of giving loaded questions. Who was the beings that, from your perspective, that Yaku grafted?
They don't exist no more in their original form. They're not here no more. They've been genetically annihilated on purpose.
And how did that take place?
Through the amalgamation of the royal families of the earth. Why you think Genghis Khan got 60% of the male population with his genes?
That's a lot.
Right. So
more than half.
Right. So he was doing his part to clean up the spill. The only problem is we didn't know it was some beings here at the time that shit was going on, that when you kill them, they don't come back looking like they did when they came here. They come back looking like us. Enlil brought them motherfuckers here. And because the highest expression of the human or the earth genetic family is the human, they come back looking human, but they ain't human. This is why when they show that picture, it's a famous picture of a baby that's a devil and a baby that's an angel. And they was in the caption goes with it is they in our families too. Right? Because we didn't amalgamate it and mix with them motherfuckers. But we don't know how to recognize them because they look like us. So we so busy looking at the cover, we won't never learn how to read the book.
Mm.
I'm just goofy like that. I got to see what the fuck in the book. I don't give a fuck what the cover say.
Okay.
My Angelo said it.
Go ahead,
Judge
Sister
book
Empress.
basket.
Go ahead, Sister Empress, what you were saying?
No, I was speaking, Maya Angelou. She said never judge a book by its cover.
So for you, Sister Empress, going back to the astrology, because that's your expertise, readings and astrology and things along that line. How would that help us project a better us as individuals and the collective?
One would have to want to be drawn to know. Again, this is not a forceful thing. This is more of having the curiosity and wanting to feed that curiosity, being anxious to want to know, what the universe has to say, to even know that the universe speaks in that formation, to come to, want to know what's going on in the solar system. One will have to understand how connected we are to the solar system. Because then those ones there will be the ones that ask the questions based off of their ignorance, and I mean lack of knowledge. I'm still learning and growing, but I absolutely see and understand how the planetary alignment, as well as my natal chart, affects my everyday energy. And I say that to say that when certain planetary alignments is going on, my mood changes. Once upon a time, I had no understanding of why it was taking place. Now that I understand that Mercury is the planet of communication, I absolutely understand why I communicate the way I do in my words, deeds, and thoughts. And so with that, astrology and astronomy helps us to understand each other and how, when we're dealing with this planetary alignments, what's good for us and what's not good for us. The universe is speaking on a higher realm and it's giving us this information through divination. If you're spiritually connected and in tune with nature, you wouldn't run from these things. You would be in tune to know what messages lies ahead for you to help you, again, through this walk, through this journey. If you are one that believes in your natal chart or your zodiac, and you say you a Libra or a Virgo or Scorpio or Capricorn or whatnot, these are ancient. This is ancient information, again, as I explained before. And so to understand how you are a part of this information, it comes with a whole collaboration of information. And once you connect that with the planetary alignments, you'll get a chance to figure out who you are on an individual basis. Because again, we are all of these elements. And all of these elements resonate in our everyday lives. So, if that's go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to ask the brother Rod, how does he view astrology?
Astrology is a great tool in the hands of a competent user. But a person who's just learning is not going to be as effective in translating what it means to see the planets in certain alignments and to see the stellar positions change. The question you had asked her is, how can somebody use that basically to better themselves?
Right.
Any knowledge that anybody get, if you can't use it for your betterment, then it's wasted knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to automatically, whatever you study, have to study it with the aim of self-improvement as the underlying premise for your research and your study, or else you're going to feel like it's in vain.
Something like with the language, something like
Yeah.
what we talked about with the language. You learn the language and everything, but if you don't make it your everyday life, then what is the point in learning it? What is the point in walking this path if you don't feel the need to constantly incorporate this in your everyday life?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my next question is this to the goddess Empress. Do you feel like astrology should be something that's a part of our curriculum in our culture? Or what is your take on that?
It definitely can be a tool just as everything else we utilize. I definitely wouldn't impose it on everybody. Just because it's a growing thing. Everybody, this is something that, again, has to gravitate to one. There's a connection. Again, this energy is based off of you being connected. Like the brother was saying, that level of intellect is necessary. We have so many brothers and sisters wanting to try this path and saying they spiritually connected and they getting messages from here, there, and everywhere. But as I explained to you before, we are energy, okay? And the fact that we are energy and we're dealing with multiple spirits all over the place, we're going to gravitate to them, so some of the messages that come, may not always be pleasing, depending on who drawing this energy in and how high they are in the spirit realm to even connect with that higher part of, be able to deliver a message that is truly effective. I know for the fact that the messages that I give are effective. People tell me all the time to stay out their personal life. But as I say, I don't have to use the cards. I'll put the cards away and I'll speak to you directly. And I still tap into your personal space.
Well, the cards just the training wheels. The cards just the training wheels.
Yeah, they are. They are. They really are. But a lot of people get caught up in the cards. Yeah, because a lot of people get caught up in the cards as if that's the only tool, but this is a divine connection from spirit. So even in order for you to read the cards, you're getting the messages from the spirit realm. So do you really need the cards? The cards just show you little pictures and little images of what may or may not be happening physically, but nonetheless, the messages still come from that person being connected with that divine spirit, with the all, with nature.
When you look at history, you go back to Greece, excuse me, in the oracles of Delphi, right? These oracles had the gift to tell people stuff, but the priest was using them to con people out of money. Mm-hmm. A good example is what we seen in 300 when Leonidas went up there, gave him the money, and they told him he can't go to war.
Right.
Right. But he had no choice. They was going to come invade anyway. If he don't launch a preemptive strike, they gonna be at the mercy of the invading hordes that's coming. Right. But they used the payout that they had already had. Then they took the payout from Leonidas and still told him he can't go to war. But we don't know what the oracle really said. Because we got to rely on him to tell us what the oracle said, because we don't speak the language the oracle speaking.
Right.
Right. So that's like somebody in a room full of people. One of your homeboys speaks Spanish, and a Spanish-speaking person come in there cussing everybody out. We all laughing, thinking and cracking jokes. My man like, no, he's serious. This motherfucker just said he about to get his cake, come in and level the room. Right. You know what I mean? But we don't know Spanish, so we don't know. He just came in here and told us he's finna kill us all. But his tirade is hilarious to us because he's speaking in a foreign language, and his theatrics that go with it makes it look like it's a parody. And this shit dead serious.
Mm-hmm. It is. But it goes, but that illustration is like, can you trust the oracles? Well, how do you see this spirit realm? How do you see yourself connected? Do you see yourself being able to channel this information? Because oracle don't have to tell you nothing unless you come to them. But would you be able to, but so therefore, if you come into this person, that means that person obviously have something that you don't know that is within yourself. Now that person say, here, let me help you enlighten yourself so that you can do this yourself and you don't have to come ask me.
Well, most people don't want to teach people because then they won't need them. They feel like they done ran their course. So they ain't gonna get no more money out of them.
Life, so is people extinct yet? We still breeding, huh? Somebody gonna need somebody.
Yeah.
So I guess that's just shallow thinking that if I share this with you, then I'm not gonna have nothing. I think that's shallow thinking. Especially if we living in an infinite world. So how can I run out of anything?
Yeah, that's blatant ignorance. Yeah, that's pure ignorance. Because look, I teach somebody how to do something. When they get learning how to do it, God damn it, they know how to do it now. They don't have to come bother me no more. That's what I be looking at. Motherfucker, now you know how to do it. You can change your own flag. You don't need to call me every time.
That's how my stepfather taught me. I promise that's how he taught me. He told me to come over here. He showed me how to take that tire off. He told me to take all the nuts off. And guess what? I was changing my own tires after that. I dare not to ask that man why. It only took him one time to show me something that I could do myself. And the same thing with readings. You don't have to come to me for a reading. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to tell you nothing. I can keep it to myself and just watch shit happen. Because it does. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was explaining that to Brother Messiah a while ago. I said, wouldn't it be just selfish if I just kept all of my information to myself? Do I really have to share it with people? Who said so? This is my life. It's personal. I know what I'm divinely connected to. So do I really need to share this information with you people? No, it is a choice that I make.
We have two questions in the chat. The first question is from the brother Lil Reggie Dollar Bills, and he says, how does the zodiac relate to our life? That's the first question. And then we got Miss Rhonda, she has a question. But that's the first question. Sister Empress, how does the zodiac relate to our life?
So on this Gregorian calendar, because I'll use that one right now, there's 12 zodiac signs starting from January to December. Okay. And we are born under that Gregorian calendar, under one of those months. Each month represents two different zodiacs. Is a break off. One half represents one part of the zodiac sign, the other half represents another zodiac sign. With those zodiac signs comes an energy, a characteristics of what that zodiac sign is, such as myself. I'll say I'm born October 24th. I fall under the zodiac sign of Scorpio. Well, what is Scorpio? Scorpio is depicted as the energy of transformation and rebirth. The Scorpio energy is also governed by two planets, Pluto and Mars. Going into the solar system, Pluto represents one energy, Mars represents another issue. One represents transformation, another represents war. So with the two, I represent war and transformation. How does that play out in my everyday life? That is what a natal chart comes in at. The natal chart is a breakdown of your makeup. And when I say that, it is a variation of the 12 signs within your Gregorian calendar makeup. So when you are born into this realm, into this United States of America, because other places do not use Gregorian calendars, you are born under one of these zodiac signs. And under that sign, there's a planetary alignment going on. There's some, there's a sun sign going on. There's a moon energy going on. There's, Venus and Mars and Uranus and Neptune all are going on in the universe while we are being born. And when we are born at a specific time, date, longitude, latitude, it becomes the blueprint of our life. And what that blueprint is, it is that exactly what I said. It is a blueprint of who we are and what we represent and breakdown. Now, if you go to a Vedic calendar, you'll have a somewhat different interpretation of your characteristics, but in a sense, similar. And so what this is it tells you a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you may or may not face. And it breaks it down according to where you live. And again, the time of birth and so forth like that. But if you don't know this information, it's all well and fine. It still can be calculated. But the zodiac and the astrology definitely plays a major role in our everyday lives as we just get a chance to do the research and see how we are one with this energy.
Okay, the next
Let me piggyback on what she just said. So
okay.
the way the zodiac affect us, right? The zodiac tell us what car manufacturer manufactured you. Okay, so you born under the sign of Ferrari. So you a high performance car coming from Ferrari. So now you need to know what's the best oil and what's the best fuel to use in a Ferrari, right? So you looking at the different things that enhances the performance of a high performance car. If you get a Ferrari and you put the same fluids that you put in your Pinto, right, it's not going to have the same Ferrari performance. So if you don't know what line or what car manufacturer you come off, you don't even know how to treat the vehicle so you can get the optimum performance. Learning your zodiac is like learning your manufacturer facility. It's talking about which house of the zodiac did you come into, right? So you got 12 houses of the zodiac, then you got the center of the zodiac when you get perfected balance between all of the zodiacal energies, which is a journey in and of itself. But the zodiac affects you because each one of these planets and stars, when you're born, they're in a specific position that tells a specific frequency to come in. And this is how you know when to reincarnate, because the DNA alignment matches the frequency, then the child can be born in a certain city, right? So the influence of the zodiac is the potential. The realization of your zodiac is the manifest potential. And what you don't know, you can't work to bring into a reality. So your zodiac sign is one aspect of the person. Then you got something called biorhythms, where your brain, heart, and body all function on different frequencies to do different stuff. But then you also, along with your biorhythms and your zodiac sign, you also have a geography where you are organically from, right? Which all ties in together to weave your book of life in the matrix.
Absolutely.
And the better you get at knowing yourself, the more capable you become of reading your book of life. And then once you get skilled at yours, you can read another person's book of life and help them on their journey if you're perceptive enough.
Absolutely.
And that's what the whole purpose of talking to oracles in the first place is. The ones of us who got a life where we don't have the time to study the arts, the tarot reading, the I Ching, the Chinese zodiac, the Western zodiac, the runes. We don't have time normally to learn all that stuff. Fortunately for me is I would go to work, and while I was at work, I'd be learning all that stuff.
Right.
Because
that's because you were drawn to it. Everybody also is not drawn to this information because again, we're reincarnated into these meat bodies. And so this is our path. This is a part of our spiritual path. Is to come across this information for its purposes to help enlighten others.
Right. The ones who not drawn to it, they probably got a different, they might be more athletically inclined or intellectually inclined. They might be into physics.
Right.
But they ain't never experienced physics before to know they like it.
Right. Exactly.
It's like it's all natural.
It
right.
is.
So you have an affinity to be drawn to certain stuff in your lifetime. That's because you need a certain skill set by the time you get a certain age in order to go through a certain thing that you got to go through when you turn that age. Right. So in your book of life, you going through the learning process until the culmination of time where you have to cash in all of your lessons on your book of life so you can see if you really learned anything.
I think this question right here in the chat is a two-part question by the sister Rhonda. The first one is, what type of people reach out to you? And the second one is, do you deal with Ouija boards?
The people that reach out are the people that is seeking spiritual enlightenment. That's who reaching out. Those that have a desire within their mind, body, and soul, a thirst to want to know. Those are the people who reaching out. And as far as dealing with Ouija boards, when you become spiritually enlightened, you don't need no tools. That's something that we deal with on TV. That's something that people use when they pretend to be spiritually enlightened, and then they fooling with some serious spirits that they can't control themselves. So no, I don't need to use no Ouija boards. I don't have to. I don't find it necessary. Again, I'm the type of person that is just connected to nature, to just be intuitively connected. That's it. I don't need nothing else but to sit and listen.
Okay. Let's see what else we got in the chat. The brother Love says, is the Muklasina coming out of this generation? Muklasina, for those who don't know, is a plural form of the word khalas, which means pure. So Muklasina would be the purified ones. Is the purified ones or Muklasina coming out of this generation?
Absolutely. In due time.
Can you explain the what, where, when, why, and how?
At the proper time, we'll see the signs and symbols. That's what I will say. You'll see a ripple in our energy change. You'll see us becoming more and more connected some kind of way.
What would you say about that, Brother Rahiz?
Depends on what you mean by purified ones. In the purification process, those are the ones who went already through the shadow work. So you're going to be seeing a lot of people that did their shadow work, because that's going to be the emerging of a new leadership.
I say.
You gotta see it because they did the work. Right? And the shadow work is done in the shadows, literally, in order to determine if you qualified to step into the light.
Absolutely.
Right? So, will the purified ones be seen? They'll be seen when they be purified. And you remember, Baba said we're not going to have no baptism by water. It's going to be fire this time. And we don't even know what the fuck that means yet.
The sun.
Right? So while we getting this baptism by fire, we gonna figure it out along the way. Because some people are so hard-headed that they're gonna have to wait to learn the hard way, like me. I always say like me when I talk about somebody learning the hard way, because I got a knack for taking shit, learning it the hard way, because it don't look right the way they tell me it go. So I gotta go find out, do it go that way.
You have to be the curiosity set here. You got to find out. Know for yourself. Well, and that's the way we should be feeling any way on an individual basis. It's not even to say that we want to disagree with our next brother and sister, but we absolutely still want to have our own mind. This is what it's here for. Our own Ori is what, our ancestors would say. Follow your own Ori, because your own Ori is what's going to guide you to where you need to be. And so when you follow your own Ori will show you the people and places and things that matter to you in your life for your purpose.
And she didn't say follow being honorary.
Yeah, no,
Did it sound like that?
So the sister Rhonda's question is, what about tarot cards?
Again, tarot cards is another tool, just like a book, just like the holy tablets, just like the scrolls is a tool. It is a tool that can be used to help you along your spiritual path. However you see you're going to get any type of spiritual knowledge or guidance or enlightenment from, these are the tools that you will use. You use a hammer when you want to hang something up, huh? If you use tarot cards, or you use certain things if you want to know something from a spiritual perspective. Everything ain't in the book. Everything is not in the book.
My take on the tarot card is this. The scientists in the CIA found out that you can psychically turn on certain skills if you know the training simulation. Mm-hmm. Well, the training simulation for clairvoyance, one of them is tarot cards. The more you learn about each card, and then you'll be able to read it in real time, you won't be restricted to a deck. That's what we say, they're training wheels. Mm-hmm. It's just a tool to learn how to use what's already in you.
That's it.
The tarot cards don't mean shit by themselves.
They don't.
The tarot cards stay in the box if a human don't take them out.
I don't use mine. I don't have to use mine. I use them because they cute sometimes, or if I'm spiritually led to use them, then I would. But for the most part, we can just sit here and we can just have this conversation, and I'm going to tap into your personal space without a card. And that's what people are afraid of.
Yeah, definitely the ones that did they dirt don't want you tapping into their energy.
Exactly. And I ran across them. I had somebody tell me to stay out their personal life. And I said, you the one asked me to read you. You feel me? Like, I didn't know you was going through that, but now I do. But that's that confirmation when you have, tapped into that dark side, that shadow side that they haven't tapped into. See, people don't want you to tap into their shadow side because they haven't dealt with it. They afraid of it. They just want to walk in the light. And it's like, well, in order for you to get to the light, you got to go through the darkness.
Hey, look, I keep telling these motherfuckers, your light was born in triple darkness.
Well, maybe they don't understand that concept yet. That might have to sink in. Maybe they don't understand.
Okay, well, I put it biblically for them. And let there be light. What was there before that? When they say, and let there be light, what was there when they were saying, let there be light?
They might have missed that too. They might have missed that too. Okay, you got some blind people out here.
Me Wild said, you're the real deal, sis. Shout out to Me Wild. Me Wild also says, her question is, okay, can you, Rod, and the goddess explain the role of Scorpio for this current time since we're all here? Laughing out loud. I have a Scorpio stellium, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Pluto is tough, but I love it.
Okay, so I'm a Scorpio.
Ditto.
I am 0 degrees. I consider myself to be one of the realest Scorpios that I've met thus far, because through other cultures, I found how I still resonate with Scorpionic energy. And so that transformation and rebirth is all up in my whole DNA makeup.
Hey, I'm gonna give you my birthday and let you do my spread. Your mouth gonna hit the floor.
I believe you. I believe you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But she wants you, Empress, to explain the role of Scorpio for this current time. She has a Scorpio stellium sun, a Mercury, Venus, and Pluto. It's tough, but I love it. That's what she says.
Oh yeah, Scorpios automatically come in with some tough energy by nature. We are intense. We are probably the most intense on the zodiac sign. Okay, so at this moment, a part of understanding his energy right now is
It's a female, sis.
sis. Oh, I thought you said her son. A part of understanding this energy right now. First, it's not just the moon. Where's that moon at? Because even though we're Scorpios, we really vibrating off of that moon energy. That's what you see right now.
She says she's born 11/19. So what I would like to know to understand a little better, what is
She's still a Scorpio. She's a November Scorpio.
So my question would be, what is a stellium sun, if I'm pronouncing that correctly?
That's her sun sign. That's her ascendant. That's what she was born under.
Okay, meanwhile, question. Where does your moon reside?
You have to do the natal chart reading. That's that blueprint I was saying. To find out where your moon is to find out that longitude and latitude of what you was born under at that particular day.
Right.
There's a moon energy. There's always a moon and sun energy every time we born. Everything that is born into this world it has a natal chart, a blueprint.
He says she's a Cancer moon.
Okay. So with Cancer moons.
Yeah, very emotional Scorpio.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that's why it is intense, because she's dealing with double water. Cancers and Scorpios vibrate off of two different type of water elements. With me, because my Scorpio is, my moon sign is Gemini. I'm more of a mist or something like that, but I'd also consider myself fire, hot water, whereas a Cancer is lukewarm,
It's one thing about the Scorpio though, it's like hot ice.
Yeah. Because
there's water in the fixed position, frozen. That means we stubborn as an earth sign.
Yes.
Right. So they say the Scorpio, the only motherfucker stubborn enough to teach a Taurus.
That's it. And I'm gonna say this: when it comes to teaching a Taurus, we have to be careful, because our intense energy will come off so strong that we will destroy them. Remember, Scorpios.
I've been dealing with Tauruses, and that just don't work for me.
Oh yeah, it worked for me. It absolutely worked for me, because I can name quite a few Taurus that I've run across that I have definitely crushed them. Not saying that, but not saying it in a negative way, but have definitely brought to their attention some things that have, made them vulnerable. And it's just like, this is the truth moment. And if the truth fit, that's what it is. Because again, this Scorpionic energy is all about transforming. We naturally going to transform. We're naturally going to bring some shit down. We almost, even though we're not the Tower card in the tarot deck, we that energy that is all about death and rebirth. So we here to enlighten. We also here to destroy. And with emotional, sometimes
we still the Tower in the tarot deck though.
Yeah.
We came to fuck all this shit up. So
seriously. I mean, no matter what, that tower coming down. And when I say that tower coming down, I'm saying that sometimes we don't want to let go of things that no longer serves us. And we here with the bulldozer tearing that motherfucker down. Oh, it's coming down. One would say in the Bible, would consider in the Bible, the wrath of God, huh? So that is the energy of the wrath of God, which means God is coming to destroy, to bring about new life. Well, that's what the Scorpionic energy is.
I think that she's using the abbreviation for Sagittarius. So she says she's Sag rising, 29 degrees, Cancer moon.
Sagittarius comes from a higher mind perspective. I got a lot of Sag in my chart, so
8th house energy. She said 8th house energy.
That's still in Scorpio. Scorpio's the 8th house. So what she want to know about her Sagittarius energy? She want to know that
Want
Sagittarius
to know
is a
what's
higher
the
mind.
role? She want to know what's the role in this day and time of that particular.
Look, you don't have to specify a
No.
Scorpio because of the time that we in at the close of the age. Everybody got a job to do. You just got to know what your skill set is.
That's it.
If you don't know what your skill set is, she can give me 400 zodiac, this, that, descendant to motherfucking. I can go through the whole ephemeris.
Yeah. It's still
on her
right
zodiac
now,
sign, and it's not going to tell you no more about what her role is than the skill set that she developed over a lifetime at this time tells you what your role is.
And it's a breakdown. It's not just a basic thing. Like right now, we dealing with new moon energy. We got retrograde going on with so many different planets in the solar system on top of your own individual natal chart. It's almost like we are it's a combination, right? You know, you making some Kool-Aid, you need some sugar, some water, you know what I'm saying, and some flavor.
Kool-Aid mix.
Yeah. And so with that that's how we are when it comes to our natal charts and planetary alignment. It is a collaboration of things that make us up every single minute. Like the zodiacs, the solar system is constantly changing. And so we change. 1 minute, early in the day, we happy. And, next thing you know, we in our feelings and we have no idea what happened from this AM. Well, probably the planetary alignment changed. And just because you are a Sagittarius do not mean that you're just about to walk around in full Sagittarius energy, because that is not what your blueprint is, unless your whole natal chart is full of Sagittarius energy, which still is going to counteract with the other planetary alignment, because you're still dealing with the other zodiacs in the solar system, and they got some shit going on. They ain't even getting along.
Okay, so Open Your Eye 3964 says, how would this current alignment affect us in reclaiming our land, property, and resources from this fraudulent world, Rod?
It depends on your mindset.
Yes.
So you're going to have different effects according to what your perception is. If you want to continuously contract with a dead entity, then you're going to get the motherfucking reward of somebody contracting with the dead. But if you want to walk with the living, sup with the living, and rejoice in a new day, then your mindset will be geared to moving you in that direction. Everybody not on the same level, and everybody not going to have the same result.
I agree.
Some people going to get some shit, and some people not going to get. Look, this is what's going to be the biggest holdup of families from getting their wealth. Them two cousins that don't like each other since they were 6 years old because they got in a fight at grandmama's house, and now they holding a grudge and they in their 40s.
Yep.
I ain't talking to that motherfucker. Fuck him. Yep. They gonna be the ones stopping motherfuckers from getting their money.
Yeah. With that drama.
Yeah.
With that past trauma, that childhood drama that they never addressed. They suppressed it.
And allowed it to fester and be like a cancer in their ass, eat them motherfuckers up, making sure they don't get nothing when it's time to get the world.
Okay, so Brother Love says, I'm called the powerful black one, Ray, and I'm the fire sign Sagittarius. I intimidate people without the intent to do so. I feel I'm empathetic. Can you tell me what these energies mean?
I missed that.
Okay,
you said Brother Love what?
Brother Love says, I'm called the powerful black one, Ray, and I'm the fire sign Sagittarius. I intimidate people without the intent to do so. I feel I'm empathetic. Can you tell me what these energies mean?
Sagittarius are ruled by a higher mind, right? So they think on a whole spiritual level. Like everything is always spiritual to them. They logic thinkers. They fact people. You're not getting nothing past a Sagittarius without facts. They need proof. And so if he's saying he's fiery and he's going through this thing, that's because a lot of the energy that he coming across has not reached his level yet. That's all. has reached this level, and his level of intellect is probably superseding a lot of people that he coming in contact with, which was making him second guess himself. But he's just vibing off of this high frequency. That's what I'm picking up.
Okay.
He can balance that Sagittarius energy by thinking more like a Gemini, be a little bit more on the shallow surfaces sometimes. Get out your head a little bit.
Yeah. So
Overstand that everybody don't know everything you know, and everybody will not comprehend to everything you know. Don't dummy down, of course not. But just have that understanding that everybody not vibing on the same frequency as we just said just recently. And that's just where that energy is coming from.
So if we going deep sea diving, ain't no sense in me taking no motherfuckers that can only swim with flippers.
No, you gotta go for the
Yo,
scuba
Rod
dive.
got some hell of an analogies, boy. He know how to explain it,
because the deal is, if you got some people out there that want to go deep sea diving, they want to go to be beneath the surfaces to see what's at the bottom of the sea. They want to understand that lifestyle and what it's all about, because it do exist. But then you got these shallow surfacers.
They don't want to gear up with the proper equipment, though.
Exactly. That's it. You got to put on too much equipment to go down to the bottom. They rather just keep they fickling their toes, on that shallow surfaces. That's their safe haven. So they love the water. They just ain't going deep.
Okay, so Bryson Reed 816 says, I'm a Gemini sun, Scorpio moon, and Pisces ascendant. What you got to say about that, Sister Empress?
Yeah, whole hot mess.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read it again. He says, I'm a Gemini sun, Scorpio moon, and Pisces ascendant.
You almost the opposite of me, because I'm a Scorpio sun with a Gemini moon, but baby, hot ass messes with I'm
okay. So on the surface, he's coming across Gemini.
Yes.
Right. So either he thinking real deep, or he on some petty shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could go both ways depending on the situation, however he sees it.
Yeah, because he could start off petty and then he can take that shit deep.
Yeah, right. Or he can start off deep and be real petty about it. You feel me? Like, that's the fucked up part about it, because Geminis are, again, they logic thinkers. They think from a higher realm. They also too is governed by Mercury, the planet of communication, and so they definitely have a way of speaking. One thing about the collaboration of Geminis and Scorpios is they know how to talk. They know how to talk, and the information that they get comes together. So right, when you put them together, you got a force to be reckoned with. Okay, get ready.
Okay, so meanwhile,
he got a Scorpio moon, right? So emotionally, he is Scorpio. He a whole asshole.
He a whole crybaby. He's sensitive. You can definitely be sensitive more so than you need to be, based off of that.
Hold unnecessary grudges with that Gemini and that Scorpio like that.
Yeah.
He will hold the motherfucking grudge until the ego grin with teeth.
And you know what? If that ego kick in, you might as well look for some vengeance.
Okay, so I have two questions. So Meanwhile says, can y'all elaborate on getting past the family disconnect?
Look,
ego.
Everybody gonna have to do their own shadow work, which is part of cleaning up generational curses, which automatically trends the family back towards togetherness. The next thing that we have to do is somebody in the family, one of the elders or one of the ones that's going to be that priestess or the prince or the whatever you're going to be in the clan, try to meet a new family member a minimum of once a week.
Mm-hmm.
You got close family members that you never talk to your whole life. Call a motherfucker and have a half-hour conversation with them and get to know them and let them get to know you.
Right.
You spoke on that on our last live as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be a reoccurring thing at this time, because a lot of people not going to get their family banks open in the expedited manner because they're going to have family members that's going to be hostile to each other in the family.
Yeah.
And that's going to slow down their progress until they figure out in the family how to get them past the drama.
Right.
Break the generational curses.
That's what we're here for. We're here to break generational curses, close all conjures, and start a new age for the golden age for the next generation of children, the indigos, right? These the star seeds. My generation came in off onyx energy, which is defenders, protectors, guardians on the Black Power struggle. And the Black Power is the Black Onyx. The Black Onyx is the protection stone. We came in the 60s on the Onyx energy because we came born in the middle of warfare.
You did.
Our job now is to figure out how to solve the problem without the warfare. And the solution to the problem is get the families to start back communicating. Somebody in the family is a no-nonsense motherfucker. That's the motherfucker in charge of solving the family issue. Why you don't like your cousin?
I just had that happen to me, as a matter of fact, just yesterday. My cousins and my sisters had a beef, and I'm the oldest cousin, and I'm usually the go-to to do exactly what you said. What is this beef about? And that really was the topic of, my discussion with these ladies yesterday, is that it's time for us to put aside these differences and come together, because life is so precious and so short that what we fighting and arguing over is really irrelevant to our real being. And they respect me. They respect me enough to take my advice, and apply it as much as they can in their life, because they know, as their eldest cousin, that I mean well. Everything I say. And even as powerful as my words may be, if I ruffle their feathers, that's fine. They accept it. Because they know that once I ruffle those feathers, that means that there's a lesson somewhere that needs to be learned. Why? Because some ignorance is somewhere.
Mm-hmm. You got another question, Empress. Wealthy QT says, help me. I'm a Leo sun, moon is in Aries, and rising is Virgo.
Well, Leos are really fun-loving people. They are governed by the sun, the vitality of us.
And the heart chakra.
And they definitely run off of ego, for sure. I mean, that's just the nature of a Leo. I go into the tribe.
Before you finish, I just got one question for you.
Go ahead.
You're talking to a Leo that's asking you for some advice that they know they're not going to take.
Exactly.
My wife.
Why? Because they work out of ego. But what did he say his moon sign was again?
Aries.
Even worse.
Yeah.
Aries,
so he's full of fire energy.
Yeah, Aries whoop ass first, and then maybe they'll ask questions later if the person is still up for talking. So to combine them two fire energies is intense, because
and he said it's rising in Virgo.
And then with a confused ass Virgo.
Hey, don't do that.
It is what it is.
Don't do that now. You trying to bash
the start some stuff.
You bashing the VP.
But Virgos are emotionally confused because they separated from their Scorpio.
Thank you. Emotionally confused. They play tug of war in that brain of theirs. So
they think they know what they want till they get it, and then they say, "Oh, no, that's not really what I wanted."
Exactly, because they didn't change their mind, because they knew because of that tug of war that they've been playing in their mind, that indecisiveness, and then dealing with that ego, and that Aries, that Ram, energy. We talking about force. We talking about fire. That's all fire, brother.
So he should be looking for some kind of
emotion
job where he can be out in the front talking and running the show, because otherwise he's gonna be
a spokesperson. Yeah, he needs to be on the front line. That's where that fire go.
He needs to be the next Denzel Washington.
Or he says she's a female.
Okay, well, she needs to be another Viola Davis. You know what I'm saying? She need to get out there and set the tone.
She got all that fire.
She got all that fire ready to blaze, and ain't nobody gonna get through to her ass no way. So might as well let her blaze.
Meanwhile, said the Leo and Virgo energy is like the Egyptian Sphinx. Okay, so then we got the brother Lord Reggie. Dollar Bill says, I'm a Capricorn. My ruling planet is Saturn. I have very deep spiritual dreams to the point where they seem to be extremely real. I believe my messages are in them. How do I go about interpreting them?
You just did. You just said they messages. That's exactly what dreams are. And, you know, just because you're a Capricorn, that doesn't mean any, you know, they usually, they emotionalist people, you know, they don't have a lot of, they go-getters. They set their mind on one thing and that's it. But for you to have these dreams and they so vivid to you, there's absolutely a message in the dreams. You should absolutely write the dreams down. If you could remember as much of the dreams that you're having, because there's a message that you need to get from these dreams.
One of the things I find helpful in translating what a dream means, a nightmare is actually a good dream.
Yeah.
And a blissful dream is actually the impending doom. Right? No, most dreams are between the two extremes. So the more things you know what they mean, so you start picking your dreams apart piece by piece.
Dissecting.
Right? And you seeing what do I think glasses mean? Right? What do I think a gold tooth mean? On my own. Because when you start writing these definitions down, you're writing a codex to translate your own dream. Right? Not the dictionary definition. What do it mean to you?
Synchronized, looking for the synchronicities.
Right. Because if you look glasses up in the dictionary, it's going to give you a long, drawn out 21 definition description of the different types of glasses.
Yep. Yeah. Seriously.
But when you're looking at the dream, right, you will say, okay, glasses mean to aid visually, right? So aid visually is the shortest definition that it means to you. If the glasses got tinted lenses or are shades, that means vision is obstructed. Right? So obstructed vision. So if you can see through the glasses, in the white set of eyes is bloodshot. That means they either tired or they've been, something caused their eyes to bloodshot. So you start going through the definitions until you get your own understanding of how you perceiving your dream. But the most important thing you got to remember is when you woke up from the dream, how did you feel?
Right.
Because that's your guide. Yeah, because that's going to be that's the guide that's the final key to unlock the translation of the dream. And it tells you which direction to flip the content.
Okay, so Brother Love said, this is the Empress. I guess it's about me. So he says, Empress, I noticed that Messiah's magnetic energy for attracting positive benevolent energy has been high. Do you concur? And how does he keep it going?
He's very compromising. That's something that's in his natal chart too. He's very compromising. Yes.
She said yes.
I listened to the conversations that we share and that you have with others, what brief information that you share. And what stands out the most is that you humble yourself enough to compromise with people versus somebody else is going toe for toe, blow for blow. To compromise with someone is a good thing because it allows you to see from their perspective, not just yours, and to even take that advice.
Well, I got beat up today, so I ain't have no choice but to compromise. I got a black eye and a busted lip right now as we speak.
Sometimes it's okay.
Rhonda whooped my ass today.
It's okay. You know, I mean, sometimes that energy, when it's that thirsty and that adamant about something, it can become extremely intense and spiritually violent. But
Hey, you know what's crazy? If I'm wrong, I ain't gonna say shit. I'm just gonna take it.
Yeah. Right is right and wrong is wrong, and we really definitely want to humble ourselves enough to at least hear the other side of the story before we jump to any conclusions about anything, or at least overstand. I say in a 360 perspective, look at things all the way around the board before you make your final decision, unless you absolutely are sure with facts on what you're about to produce.
I'm gonna get a book.
You said what, Rod?
I want to get a book on how to set up a corporation that got the diagrams so I could share them on the structure to set up the family clan. The reason why is most people don't know the structure.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we build under a matriarch. And the matriarch real job is to find who most qualified for what position and put them in that spot. Whoever most qualified for that position, put them in that spot. Right? So if a person is got all of the right to be something but don't got none of the skill, he either got to go get the skill or he can't have that position.
What would be the point?
Right?
It'll fail.
And this, right, because now who you know can get you a position you totally not qualified for.
It's not what you know, it's who you know now.
Right. So it's a guy wrote a book called The Peter Principle of Business, right? And the Peter Principle was you give them promotions until they incompetent, and then you create fictitious titles to side bump them to move other people to the same level of incompetence. So the goal is to move everybody to the highest position where they don't know what the fuck they doing and leave them there.
Mm.
That means they reached their maximum capacity. They reached their
Yep.
climate.
Yep. They maxed out their potential of growth.
See you in the next lifetime.
So now they're going to pacify them until it's almost time for them to retire by the time they get there anyway. Right. Pacify them out the door after that. Yeah. You got everything you can get out of them.
Basically. I mean, that's facts.
Cold but true.
But we need to learn how to structure a corporation, a fraternal order, a full-blown clan, and you got different members for different functions.
That's how school is orchestrated. That's how we learn in school. Every professor has a specific skill that they give to the students.
And that's not how we used to learn. We used to have specialists come in and talk, but we used step down until the colonizers changed it and gave us a Skinner box.
Mm-hmm.
They took us out of step down education because the children was catching the tricks of the miseducational process in the process of moving from kindergarten in the back of the class to 12th grade in the front of the class.
Mm.
By the time the child got to the 12th grade, if there's a glitch in the teaching process, the child would have caught it and would have called the teacher on it.
That would have started some trouble.
And when we talk about this side the other day, we was talking about taking the critical thinking, practical problem solving out of the educational curriculum, which is the same as taking NUWAUBIAN out. Remember we talked about that on the other show?
Yeah, when you was basically letting them know in simplistic terms that NUWAUBIAN was basically critical thinking and practical problem solving.
Yeah. So that's the alternate reference we give for the ones who are like, well, what is NUWAUBIAN? How do it work? But he'll get you this book on critical thinking and practical problem solving, and that's NUWAUBIAN.
Mm-hmm.
That's the academic way of teaching the ancient science of NUWAUBIAN.
So now once you do this, And now you have given them yet another tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
When are the people going to start applying it in their everyday life? By the time they wake up to the time they close their eyeballs. And with every person that they meet.
That's the thing I always bring up, because I made time on the clock to do what I wanted to do and to do what the company needed me to do. Right? I didn't think that they was paying enough for the job they had me on, so I had to get the pay and knowledge. Right? So they gave me access to the computer and the printer, so I got books printed. Fuck, what the fuck?
Thanks, y'all.
I know that's right.
Thanks, y'all.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, for you got the tools. See how you got the resources, right? And now you're ready to disperse these tools out to the brothers and sisters. That's all I want to find. So now they got it. Are they going to take this information that they just have learned? Or
hell no, they not finna do nothing but listen to us and intellectually masturbate.
That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted to hear.
He said it, intellectually masturbate.
That's all I wanted to hear. That's it, because that is the fact. And that's why I bring up
the truth of the matter is it's certain ones that's gonna come for the book references. And for everyone that come for the book references, one of them gonna actually apply it out of 10.
Exactly.
But it's gonna be 100 people that's gonna have the intention to ask. Another 1,000 people that want to ask, but they, for some reason, they low self-esteem won't let them ask.
Well, I mean, isn't that how things are already?
The what?
I said, isn't that how things are already with people's mentality?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The mentality right now, this is how they moving. And this is why it's taking so long for major events to be able to be seen, is because bringing the awareness to the people that need the awareness takes so long, because we are been taught to be intellectually lazy on purpose. Somebody taught us that. When we was 4 or 5 years old, we would have learned anything in 2 days. Now we 40 and 50 years old, it take us 6 months to learn a fucking new word. One new word. So the drive to learn has been turned off in the adult. And the children that ask too many questions is looked upon as a problem, and they drugging them up. They got ADD, they got ADHD. They bipolar.
Yeah, schizophrenic and all of that kind of crazy. All of those second crazies.
So I think
like the third definition of crazy.
Brother Love is asking you another question about me. He said, so are you saying that I should
tell Brother Love none of his goddamn business?
What do he want to have a private conversation?
I don't know. His questions is about me, but
tell Brother Love, Ryan said, none of your goddamn business. Stop asking about this man business and let him go ahead and conduct his interview.
We will have this private conversation.
So he was basically saying, do you feel that I should remain humble? Now I'm gonna tell you.
Hell no.
I'm gonna tell you with me personally.
Let me say something about humility.
No, don't remain humble. No, don't remain humble. Fuck that humble shit. Rumble in this motherfucker. Rattle a motherfucking cage. Get your point across. Fuck that humble shit.
Let me explain something real quick. He cool. He right about that too. But what I will say, there's a time and place for everything.
I know that's right.
And so
see, I knew somebody was gonna come in with reasonable minds and shit.
You will have your moment to set a fire. You understand?
When here's me though,
because it'll have its effect.
When you set the me. Like just my natural demeanor, I'm always gonna remain like cool, calm, and collect until it's time to like get on my bullshit, because I feel like the finesse energy, as they call it, or persuasion, or they use the word charismatic, but nigga, you persuade motherfuckers. That's what you're doing.
Well, yeah, yeah.
That's
Well,
what charisma does.
you are, but the fact that you are very analytical and reserved, this energy just carries out, in your natal chart. You know what I'm saying? And so you able to deal with things different than most people I've seen. You know what I'm saying? You deal with things definitely, like I said, in a reserved manner. Your chart would
See,
definitely say you're an idealist, you know.
you got this divine feminine here. I'm trying to bring the beast to the front.
I mean, no, don't get it twisted because
don't get it twisted down. I was on to something for a minute.
Don't get it twisted out because I can be a beast when I want to, you know. I walk
Scorpio.
with fire. I'm a child of Shango, and so I walk with fire. So I don't mind blazing people's fires and burning them down to the ground and watching it burn.
See, but I feel like that, like, okay, in my particular perspective is I had to learn because I was a very militant person. You feel me? So I had to learn that you have to learn to be the fox and the lion. You got to learn to be the fox because you have to learn how to spot traps, but you have to be the lion to ward off wolves. So in my particular way of thinking, I learned how to
gorilla. You could ward off wolves if you're a gorilla too.
Yeah, you can. So I learned that.
You're a sly fish. You might be able to get it.
I learned that my natural nature is just charismatic, charming, but behind closed doors, like motherfuckers don't even know who they're dealing with, type shit. And I like to keep that because it's about stealth to me, and it's about strategy. Like at the end of the day, you can't underestimate anybody. So I've learned a long time ago that if I'm gonna do something or I'm gonna respond in a certain kind of way, I'm just gonna get it over with, and you'll never see it coming. As opposed to the motherfucker that's been behind closed doors, he is cell gangster. He yelling from behind his door, and then as soon as the fucking people pop the door, we wet his stupid ass up. So,
well, yo, you definitely. I'm looking at where your Mars is at, and you definitely, again, Mars is that planet of war. So
stop
Mars.
Recording. You want to push the button, record button again?
Oh no, because we're about to get off in a minute. I've been recording for 2 hours. I literally I live stream and I live stream and I basically recorded to just have it in my files.
Okay.
But now we all right. We didn't get the gist of it. Go ahead, sis. What you were saying?
Yeah, I was just basically saying about your energy. You know, we all have a turn on, turn off point. You know, but I've definitely become a firm believer of, everything has a time and place. And with that comes that firm and direct energy. And so when you need to step up in the forefront and, bring about clarity to a situation, feelings are not supposed to matter. The facts are supposed to matter. What can be proven should matter, not somebody's personal feelings. If, I'm a big firm believer of if the shoe fit, wear it. So, if people are not in agreement to what you have to say based off of your facts, something that can be proven, then that's personal on them. That's so personal. I wouldn't even put my feelings involved in it because what you doing can be proven.
My whole thing is, I was getting good and riled up, and then she started talking this goddess talk.
What humility?
Talk King Kong all the way off the Empire. I wanted to beat on my chest for a minute.
Okay, well, beat on the motherfucker for a second, and then come back to reality and drop your hands down and go eat some fruit and berries off the tree. Okay.
You know what though? I've learned okay, so to me, it's more like I believed in militants for the mass majority of my life because it's just the type of personality I had. However, during my travels in the streets, I've surrounded myself around multiple women. I always got 2, 3, 4 women living in my house, and that kind of made me a certain kind of way, to a point to whereas the way it's like the balance. It's like, again, I just use the fox and the lion. Sometimes you have to be a fox. And I think that goes back to Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince, where he was talking about persuasion and coercion. there's times for everything. So I don't feel like with certain circumstances that it warrants me to actually be that type of person, because it's like, you about to leave here upset. I'm gonna leave here and I ain't even gonna think about your ass once when I leave. So it don't even matter to me. And
Exactly.
yeah, it doesn't even matter to me. However, I do think that a certain level of militance is needed, especially with from my perspective now, especially with the direction that we need to go for. And I'm gonna say this in the fucking most hoodest terms, because motherfuckers be playing, bro. Like motherfuckers be playing. They think this shit is a joke. They take our way of life, and there's only so much of that charismatic shit you can use before you have to actually just, get dirty. But that's
time and place. A time and place is a time and place.
I've never seen, and I don't ever think, and this is, and I'm not being closed-minded. I'm just saying, because I understand human psychology and human sociology, I don't think that you can actually massively spread a culture just with peace. If that was the case, why was why people getting their heads chopped off? I don't need to hear, because they was just brute. No, because when you are at the mercy of whether or not a person is going to tell you, it's like, for example, I never worked the job, right? I went from the tab to the streets. So my problem was, well, if I travel all the way across town and this motherfucker tell me, no, I don't waste my gas money. That's number one, right? And then I'm back to square one looking for a job. I create with the talents that I've been given, you feel what I'm saying, by the universe and the all, that allows me to bring something out of myself to be able to project my manifestations in the physical form, to be able to guide myself in my livelihood and stability, right? And that's a fancy way of saying I rely on my fucking self. I don't rely on what you're going to do or what this person is going to do. And in those endeavors, you have to be a very good people person. I'm very diplomatic. That's how I would describe it. I'm a very diplomatic person. I know when to go to war, and I know when to talk it out, and I know when to be right, to be wrong, to be right, because I can just let you have it. It doesn't disturb anything by letting you have it. And I can walk away with my opinions and my perspective, and you can walk away with your opinions and your perspective. And I'm not disturbed by that, because I'm still going to continue in my path.
Right. Well, I would say one would read The Art of War then, huh? That's a great book to illustrate.
I read that inside out.
Well, that's a great illustration of what you just described. And that's why I say there's a time and place for everything. There's a strategy behind how to conquer and control without actually fighting. You already
know what I did in the streets. We talk. So you already know what I was doing in the streets. So I couldn't be that type of person in that way. So that groomed me to actually understand the two natures that you have to have, because I've always dealt with women and children, always. Like, I'm the type of person in my family just drop the damn kids off because they don't really party like that. So they drop the kids off, so I got to do the babysitting. I can't go and okay. So I give everybody popsicles. They run around playing and they drop the popsicle on the carpet. I'm not going to scream and yell at them because they were being a child. I'm going to actually let them know that, hey, next time you eat a popsicle, you have to do this. You can't do this. But I'm going to speak to them in a way to where I gain their respect and they humble themselves and want to actually, they want to work to prove to me that they can be a great child while I'm babysitting them, and I never have those problems. I'm going to feed you popsicles. I'm going to let you tear up the house. And then after that, we're going to do cleanup. Then we're going to lay down. We're going to play the quiet game. First one to sleep win.
Yeah. And that's how you manipulate a child. Because everything you just said absolutely worked. I'll put it to the test myself. But that works also with adults as well. Me being in a management position, I've used that strategy on adults as well. You gain the likeness of the people. You figure out the energy that they resonate with and you vibe with them.
Right. Now, some people too now, you got to go to these type. They don't have no overstanding. So the only thing that works is chopping their fucking head off. That's the only thing that's going to work.
That's it.
They don't want you to talk them off the ledge. They're not trying to hear nothing you saying. You know what I mean? They already judge you as either guilty or soft, but either or you're going down if you don't do what you need to do.
That's it.
Hey, look, but it's certain things that keep me in my lane. One is everybody got a right to believe whatever they want to believe. That's their right.
That's
right.
it.
I got a right to tell the truth and not give a fuck about what they believe.
That's it. I swear he must be some type of Scorpio.
No, man.
And
Let me read your name, try to see where that Scorpio at in that chart.
Scorpio sun, Scorpio moon.
Come on now, you ain't even tell me that, huh? That's what I'm talking about.
You're a pure Scorpio. Ain't no
Yeah.
Look,
I just guessed it. He didn't tell me he was a Scorpio, but that conversation, I'm listening to his conversation, and that's just, again, one of those natural characteristics of that scorpionic energy. We just give it. You know, you would call an Aries a ball and flame, but guess what? We governed by the same planet, Mars. We bring that fire too. People just don't want to feel it, but that's okay. We're still gonna burn you up, and that's gonna be the end of it.
we gonna freeze or burn your ass.
Freeze or burn you, hot burn you with flames.
Look,
You will be
Scorpio.
destroyed.
The Scorpio had the most zoo types under that zodiac
What is it,
to
7?
reach its full potential. Yeah,
7 from the, what is it, from the spider to the phoenix.
yeah.
So we transform that many times within our existence. And those characteristics definitely stand out through our transformation.
That's the real answer to what Scorpios have to do with this day and age. The real answer is Scorpio gonna weave that web at the bottom and spring our ass up to the phoenix position.
Yes, coming from the ashes, rising from the ashes.
So when we talk about dealing with people, you know, I talk about, you know, I'm with the shits and all that, but if I'm not right, I don't want no parts of it.
No.
If I'm right, I ain't finna feed that bullshit. But if I'm wrong, I'm gonna let it go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Most of the time.
Right. So if I know that somebody got their mind made up about some dumb shit, I'm gonna let them continue living their life on that dumb shit, and I'm gonna continue being right, not giving a fuck, because they got a right to stay dumb as they choose to stay.
See, in the next lifetime, or maybe not.
You know?
Simple as that. We have this intuitive connection as Scorpios. We have this intuitive connection with the awe. It is, I don't want to say it's hard to explain, but to somebody who ignorant, we cannot explain the connection that we have. When we talk about being intuitive connection, that means that what we get coming to our Ori is exactly what it is. And this is where we become those detectives. You know what I'm saying? Well, we are the only, zodiac that can go deep beyond the surface, like no one else can. Because we go into the depths of things. We go into the depths of where no one else can reach, don't want to reach, it's not even equipped to reach. And we coming back with all of this vital information, but it's purpose. Sometimes it's toxic, even for us to go to, but as toxic as things are, we still equipped to go through it. And that's where our intense, that's where they call us intense at. When they characterize a Scorpio as intense and have an intense energy, that's because most of the time us Scorpios can harbor way more than any human can. And that's, to me, divine. To me, that is something of a higher spiritual realm. It's considering that I've put it to the test in my life.
Yeah. So, family, it's time to get out of here. I want y'all to hit that like button, subscribe, and share.
Ashe.
And man, I hope y'all enjoyed this. This was a real good build between the Sister Empress and the brother Rod Hayes. We hope to do another one soon. If y'all need some readings, y'all can contact the Sister Empress. That's what she does. I see that a lot of people are really, really interested in the readings in the chat. So we want to actually, y'all reach out, man. Just reach out. Send a comment in the section and we'll relay it to the sister, and she can get with y'all and y'all can go from there. But until then, man, I'd just like to say, man, this was a good one.
Yes, I agree.
And hopefully, I'm trying to get the brother Rod Hayes back, because I got some real good questions for you on a lot of different subjects the next time you're available.
Very powerful, brother.
Well, I got Young Girl tomorrow.
Oh, he'll be back?
Yeah.
All right, then.
Yeah, I was supposed to
Look
do
forward to
language
that.
class with him, so he'll be reaching out to me to do language class.
Tomorrow we going over the castles on the land.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that sounds interesting. Can't wait to tune in.
I definitely will be tuned in. All right, anybody want to sign up for the NUWAUBIAN classes? Naya Al-Makti is my Facebook. I'll put it in the chat. Sign up for these classes, man. We trying to get all y'all brothers and sisters on the language. I should be back on the Young Elders show sometime this week. This coming week. It's supposed to be every Wednesday, but the brother had to get ready to go to Atlanta to meet with the other brothers. And what else? Learning NUWAUBIAN with Messiah is the TikTok, and learning NUWAUBIAN, learning_NUWAUBIAN is the actual Instagram. Hit me up and we can go ahead and start setting up your class structure. All right, family, man. I'm out.